it's Melissa, host of the I Heal, We Heal podcast. This is your first time tuning in. I welcome you. And if you're tuning back in, welcome back. As we wrap up season 2 of the podcast today, I felt called to come back on here and just extend my gratitude. This was the first season of the podcast that was basically extended out to anonymous storytellers to share stories and experiences to create resonance and sort of a safe space. First episode of this season basically introduces you as to how this idea came up. So I'm very blessed and very thankful that the podcast is serving as a platform. I feel called to talk about this sort of transitory period that we are in collectively, which is that transitory period of shedding. Some of the biggest areas in our life that sort of go through the shedding process first are our closest relationships, our workplace, and then home. So our home, our closest relationships, and then work. These are all the different areas that we associate typically with structure and stability. So when these crumble, we realize, oh, this is no longer as stable and structured as I perceived it to be, or that I desired it to be, to keep me in this comfort zone. And so as soon as those start to crumble, the shedding process begins. The ego is stuck in this perception of crumbling or shedding is uncomfortable. And so then we perceive it that way, and it's like, oh, no. Like I've got to hold on to all of these different roles that we fulfill. We're like, trying to piece them back together. And it's like, no, I want to keep it. But that only causes more frustration, more lag within us because we are trying to hold on to something that no longer is. We prevent it from evolving into something a lot more stable and one that is aligned with where you desire to be, your desired reality. And so essentially that's really the overall of this whole shedding process. By the time that you shed and you finally are like, okay, you know what? I have surrendered and I have just allowed for processes to happen as they need to happen. The moment that you elect that, the collective energy around you shifts. And you realize it because it completely shifts. It's like you tap the first domino and then the domino effect happens and all of them fall. You realize all I needed to do was to surrender. So with that, if you are currently in a position of no longer fitting in, the workplace or in certain relationships, in certain areas of your life that feels like friction, that you're no longer fitting, surrender and realize as your exterior automatically starts to reflect back to you this energetic shift that you've made within yourself of, I realize I'm no longer aligned with this, and that's okay. And I will surrender to the process of wherever this takes me. And so when you do that, there's a lot of power in that, but you realize that that's all that was needed. Detachment also comes with a lot of freedom and this sense of lightness about things because you realize that every step of the way you're being guided. After the shedding process, you realize that you can use this exterior, these exterior people, places, and things as a reflection, as a feedback loop to where you are in this present moment energetically. How are others responding to me? Showing up for me? What are the experiences and opportunities that are just flowing my way because now I'm in this state of flow? So I just allow things to reach me. Whenever you're able to use your exterior as this feedback loop, then you know exactly where you're at. It gets down to a point that's so precise that you can catch things automatically. For example, if you start your morning off and you'd been on a streak of just like, okay, positive thinking and just embodying great, energy and everything. And then all of a sudden, you have your one day where you just wake up and something triggers you, and then you start on this downward spiral of just negative thinking and limiting thoughts and beliefs about yourself and others. And so just this negative feedback loop, right? And you'll realize how, as soon as you go out and interact with the world, your world is reflecting this back to you almost instantly. And you'll catch it and you're like, oh, yeah, right. Okay. This morning, this triggered that. And then next thing I know, I'm in this negative feedback loop. You use this feedback loop of observing your reality as a mirror. And the moment that you do that, you'll also see the shift in the people around you and how they're showing up for you, etc. One of the things that I truly, truly recommend, and if it resonates, take it, is to have grounding practices. Practices that allow you to come back into the here and now and bring you back from all these 50 tabs you have open. And it's just a grounding practice that you resonate with and you use it routinely. And these grounding practices don't have to be elaborate and everything. They can be as simple as sitting in the sun and just breathing for a few minutes, allowing yourself to reclaim your energy and just center yourself. It doesn't have to be a practice of like closing your eyes. If you want to keep your eyes open, as long as you're like breathing and focusing on your breathing, you can observe your surroundings, observe the birds in the sky, the little sprout coming out of in between of the sidewalk, all these little things that you can be present for, that you can observe, and that completely shifts your energy with the span of just a few deep breaths and presence. Affirmations are another great, just like grounding that you can use. It's another practice, and you can write these, you can say these out loud, or you can just say them internally and center yourself in the energy of the words. Today, I can leave you with one being, I am ready to anchor my energy and create my truth. I am ready to anchor my energy and create my truth. They can be as simple as that. Great ones beginning with I am, because it recalls and centers your energy in the here and now, as in I am. It's a very present type of energy by starting it with I am. Journaling is another great grounding practice and one of reflection as well. And so whether you journal it or you just think yourself through it, a great prompt would be, what do I need to release so my energy reconfigures? And this is a great one to routinely do, actually, so that you can sit with yourself and you're not only reflecting, because now you're asking yourself, what is it that I need to release? And it brings up everything that is currently feeling like you're going against the current. And so allows you to observe, but also realize maybe I do need to release people pleasing or the need to control everything and the outcomes of everything. And with that, I guess I leave you for a little bit of reflection for you on this whole shedding process, and perhaps an opportunity for you to reflect on what areas is it that you feel the shedding already happening, or perhaps you hadn't realized that that's what it was, but you felt this clash and this crumbling. I invite you to allow yourself to experience the beauty and the magic that comes from going with the flow. Once again, thank you for tuning in to the I Heal, We Heal podcast. If you're interested in sharing an anonymous story or experience, I invite you onto the podcast, so feel free to reach out to share a little bit about your experience, as this can create beautiful changes in others by practicing compassionate listening, but also relieve you by finally giving voice to whatever it is that needs to be shared.